Play.
Hello, guys. Yeah, you have this watch along because Vansh kind of forced me to. I mean, he didn't force me to, but he was spamming me since the morning that. For him, it was the night actually, but for me, it was the morning. That this is the matchup between the top 5 ball striker and the top 5 mover, and we need to do it. And I was like, okay.
Your enthusiasm was through the roof, wasn't it?
Yes, and it's still through the roof. I actually still haven't put on the stream. But it looks like we haven't missed much. It's just like the first point. So
Yeah, the first point was an ace by Fritz, and then so far no real great rallies, but just the first game.
I hope Ghosty will be in the chat because this is for him also. Yesterday he was like really angry that no one is praising Tommy Paul and that Tommy Paul is doing so well. And why are we talking about the Golden Swing, Diaz Acosta and Jari, while Tommy Paul is on such a run? And he said that he kind of has to just, force someone to give any praise to Tommy Paul. So today, likely there might be some Tommy praise Paul.
Yep.
Tommy
See?
Paul praise.
That's another reason we're doing this. We're doing it because Ghosty wants it. There you go.
Yes. He's a member, so
yeah,
he kind of can decide how the show will be a little bit. So that's why we're doing it. Yes.
I just remember their match in Acapulco last year, and both of these guys were just throwing up, and it was just physical, and it was both those guys needed some time to recover before Indian Wells started for sure.
One of these guys still needed to play a final, but well,
correct, yeah,
it wasn't that good a show. Oh, I don't think I watched that semifinal, to be honest, because Acapulco, Los Cabos, that's like kind of the worst time zone for me.
Right, yeah.
Acapulco probably even worse because Acapulco I think starts at like 2 a.m. Today we started midnight in Los Cabos, so I will probably watch the first matches. I probably won't get to see Kokinaki's Draper, but it happens pretty often in Los Cabos that I wake up in the morning and they're still playing. Like I remember that's how I watched Tsitsipas Jari last year or Kovacevic Nori. So it's very often that they simply play all through the night for me. Yeah.
Those matches they just they start late, like their start time is
4 p.m.
Yeah,
this week, at least today. I mean that's the start time for Los Cabos. Neither of these guys showing up in Los Cabos as well, Taylor Fritz or Tommy Paul. Usually they would, but not this year.
No, but you have, of course, you have Alex de Minaur flying all the way from Rotterdam.
Crazy, right? I mean, I was really expecting him to withdraw, but well, he's still there.
Yeah.
Should I go to the gym or watch Prismic? Says Keen. I would try to watch Prismic, but if you see that Lloyd Harris is in his mode, of barely moving and like having a horrific baseline game, you can probably stop watching that and then just think, okay, so Prismic is winning that. I can go to the gym. That's how he's been playing the past couple of months, I would say. So
yeah.
It depends on how the match goes. I also want to see that one. I'll probably be watching both at the same time, but we'll see.
Yeah, of course, there is also Popperin taking on Shelby right now. And Shelby actually won the first set 6-3 in Doha.
Yeah.
This actually is sort of tough to call. Like I think I'd give the slight edge to Fritz, but it's going to be close.
Yeah, I mean, Tommy has the form edge probably slightly. Taylor has it's the defending champ. Maybe actually fitness-wise, Fritz can be better now, which is weird to say. But, Tommy, after all, did win Dallas and is coming off some tough matches this week as well. Yeah, it's really tough.
Yeah. Head-to-head is 2-2 at the ATP.
Are you friends with Alafi Ayeni?
I am actually, yeah. He and I went to the same high school.
Oh.
He's having a really bad time. I actually haven't been following his results at all, so I
Yeah,
have
there's
no
not
no
that
clue.
not that much to follow, to be honest. I think he might be playing the events in Kigali soon, isn't he? And that could be a fun one for
I don't
him.
know.
Uh, oh my God, so many withdrawals there already. Well, maybe he's not on the list after all. Yeah, I don't see him anymore. But yeah, he has not been doing too well. I don't know if I had big hopes for him. He definitely has a weird game, like just yeah, speed off the net,
He
whatever
does. He
happens.
does for sure.
But it was pretty funny when it was working. Oh, he's on the entry list for
There was
Kigali
that one
too.
summer where he
He's
was
not on.
just literally just serving and volleying every point, and it was working.
I mean, he's still playing like that.
Yeah, actually, he used to
He's
play
one
like
and
that in high
six
school
this
too, I think.
year. He's 1-6 this year. Five challenger qualies losses. Some of them, well, pretty horrific. 5 games against Weber, against William Grant as well, and now he played an ITF and also lost in the qualifying. So yeah, it's not going too bright. And yes, he's indeed playing Kigali, but only the second event.
Yeah.
Maybe he was also on the entry list for the first one, just withdrew. I don't know. But
Well,
that
the
could
good
be a
thing
cool
is,
watch.
he has a degree and like he's has a college education and everything. So if it doesn't work out, it's fine. He gave it a shot. He's what
Sure.
25 right now, so I'm not totally writing him off, but I don't know if he can
Yeah,
get to, let's
24.
say, top 250. But let's see.
Yeah, it's pretty hard. Although 395, he's career high, and
Yeah.
he's also been doing like some social activism work or something like that. I don't remember what it was
Yeah.
exactly, but yeah. So he definitely has some great ideas, not only for tennis, but yeah. I mean, at the end of
Yeah.
last year, quarterfinal in Temuco. So it's not like he didn't have a run the entirety of 2023. It was his best run of 2023, but still, this year, just one win so far. Hello, Jake, as well. Yeah, just like Vansh, I have no clue if Fritz or Paul is gonna win this. Someone else was asking me that on Twitter as well, like 2 or 3 hours ago, and I was like, yeah, I mean, all these all American clashes to me are just very tough to call. It's kind of best on
Well,
the day, and
I think this might be the hardest. And maybe when Shelton plays Paul, Shelton Paul and Fritz Paul, those are the hardest for me to call. But if
Shelton
Tiafoe is
Fritz, I
playing
guess
right
we
now, if
haven't
Tiafoe
seen.
is playing either of these players right now, like I'm not picking him to win. Like it's just
Yeah, but that's kind of after you saw the matches against Giron and against Paul here, right? Like if we were just starting up in Dallas.
I don't know. I'd still say Taylor beats Tommy. I'd still
Hmm.
say Taylor beats Francis. Sorry,
Okay.
uh, just because I've seen too many matches where Francis won all the big points and it's just more reliable.
It's fair.
I think he's won the last six, so pretty big sample size. They had this one really good match in Washington where I think Tiafo was up 4-love 30-15 or something crazy like that, and Fritz just like starts blasting the ball and comes back and wins like 6 games in a row in the third set.
I don't remember that whatsoever. Maybe I've always been this disinvested in all American matches.
I mean, you were like that for the challengers also last year. You were like, these fields, I don't really know, they're kind of weak.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, it depends. When there was Shelton, when there was, well, to an extent, when there was Alex Mikkelsen. But for example, when this year there was that Cleveland Challenger, and Alex Graskin was on Twitter saying that he's seen a few because he's always there at that Cleveland Challenger, usually hosting like the last couple of days, and he
Yeah.
was like, "So this is definitely the best Cleveland final we've had." And the final was Patrick Gibson against Ethan Quinn. And I'm
Mhm.
like, mate, last year Alexander Kovacevic played Iping Wu, and you're trying to tell me that Patrick Gibson against Ethan Quinn is the most exciting Cleveland final we've ever had.
Yeah, that's
Cleveland
his
also
college
had a
tennis bias.
Nishioka streaker 2 years ago. Like, come on, no.
That's the college tennis bias right there. That's what it
Yeah,
is.
and American bias as well. Alex has a lot of both.
He's not afraid to hide it though. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
no, no, yeah, of course. I mean, he'd be the first to admit it. Absolutely. But yeah,
Well,
I
the
mean,
thing is, we just get so excited, Damon, because we just haven't had any
huh?
American players at the level of Roddick in like forever. So we're just like
But these are
clinging
not
on.
these
Like
are not the
anybody
players
that
who are
we
gonna
get,
be at the
anybody
level
that
of
we get,
Roddick.
we're just like, yeah, he's gonna do it. He's our guy.
Are these the players that are going to be at the level of Roddick? I can get behind being excited by Ben Shelton and Ghosty, cover your ears, Sebi Korda. However, I cannot be really
Yeah, I
like
mean they
maybe
definitely have
Fritz.
the highest
Okay,
ceiling, but
I mean Fritz has won an ATP 1000. Okay. Hmm.
yeah,
But yeah, it still takes a while for these guys to jump to like a big title winning level. And at the same, let's say slams for Fritz and 1000 for Tommy. And I also have to say that it's not gonna be done here. Like if they pick up a big title sometime soon, it's not gonna be because of this much, right?
sure.
I remember last year Dallas was actually very exciting for me because there was Ibing Wu. But Delray Beach, I
Yeah,
remember
he
being
was something.
similarly sort of not invested in.
Who
What?
was it
Mateusz
last year?
Alves for the top 100 debut this year? What? What?
Last year was what Kecmanovic against Fritz in the final. Yeah, I don't remember being that excited about that.
Felipe Meligeni Alves. That actually makes total sense. I considered him. I didn't, but I considered him. Yeah, I think he's one of these guys who, like, 1 year can just fire up for a few months and do it just like that. But yeah, I considered him. Mateusz Alves, not this year, definitely not. But Felipe Meligeni is possible to me. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
He's got a nice draw in the first round in Rio now.
Fritz with a good volley to open up that return game.
Because Delray last year was what, Fritz Kecmanovic final? Like
Yeah,
that's not.
it was not exciting at all. So
Yeah, and Radu Albot in the semis, I think as well, right? Because that was
yeah,
the year when Tommy Paul was like injured or sick in
he was
Delray.
sick
He didn't
and
get
just
it.
lost 2-2 to
Yeah, like
Albot.
6-1, 6-2 or something like that to Albot. Yeah, he shouldn't have played. He said later, but of course he didn't.
Yeah, Paul to me is like sort of in that Diminor camp where it's like I think his ceiling could be like 8 or 9 in the world, and then let's see.
That sounds fair. I mean, last year they were definitely in the same camp throughout the season, really.
Yeah.
Alex probably had the bigger highlights. The 500, of course, he won in Acapulco over Tommy, but also the final at the at Toronto or Montreal. I never know. At Canada, let's say at Canada.
Hmm.
So yeah, probably had the bigger highlights, but Tommy also picked up the slam runs compared to Alex, right?
Yeah.
Semi at the Australian Open, quarters at the US. So actually, the highlights are probably comparable. Like last year, they literally had the same records. They also like fell in the ATP finals race at a similar time. So it was very close between them. This year, it seems like Alex has like kinda escaped him, but at the same time, if the Paul picks up 2 titles here, it's 500 points for him in 2 weeks.
Yeah, these are players that just rely on their insane movement and athleticism, and but not necessarily their ball striking ability. Let's just say, and ability to sort of generate power from the behind the baseline. That's what happens every time Diminor plays Sinner, and there's like this huge edge where like Sinner can just power his way through. As Fritz is like desperately trying to hang on in this rally at 30 all. Oh. Oh, and Tommy misses the forehand pass, but Fritz coming forward actually on some of these points in this game. That time he was actually forced to, but yeah.
That's an interesting comment from Sean. And you can see the player who is a hybrid of all their top 20 players. Somewhat true.
Yeah, I mean, there's also Paul. You could say is like kind of a hybrid between Tiafo and Fritz, but doesn't maybe have those huge weapons. That's why you look at Shelton and you're like, man, he's already this good, and there's still so much more that could be better. So he's probably our best bet. And Tommy shanks that forehand, so Fritz has the break. And
To sort of follow up story wise in terms of the lack of narrative that I mentioned earlier, which I know you could find something, but like probably Fritz winning this final like 6-3, 6-4, that would be the worst potentially.
It could, but I also
Just
think
give us nothing interesting.
I don't know. I was just very intrigued by their match in Acapulco last year, and I also know like those conditions and the humidity and like the
Yeah, but like it kind of wasn't for tennis reasons, right? Like it was mostly the aspect of the war of attrition that
yes.
uh,
I was like,
was
wow,
there,
this is like
which isn't really gonna be there in Delray. It seems. I don't know. They also had a day of rest, which I guess for Tommy could help out a little bit.
I
Well,
mean,
we'll
like,
see. But
yeah. I mean, like, if we're just talking about like match quality itself, I don't know. There's like so many matches we've done that are just like, you know, let's just say not really lived up to it.
maybe most tennis matches don't live up to the
That's just how it is.
expectations.
Yeah, that is most matches. I mean, even like Jari and oh, wait, Jari and Diaz Acosta yesterday. I mean,
Um,
yeah, you had the last game and you had the unique story of Diaz Acosta at home
yeah,
losing all
I
that.
think the story made up for everything.
But like Jari
Uh,
was just so error prone on so many big points. I mean, he just could not make a backhand return to save his life.
going into a Jari match, you're kind of expecting it, most for
Like
the most part. Like it doesn't have to be like this, and he proved it
Diaz
in
Acosta was
the
getting
last
so
game.
tight at the end, and he didn't even make him play, and it was just like
No, I mean, no, that's not true. Like the last game,
the
Jari
four
actually
three
went
game.
into
He
a
had those
very
two
different.
break
No,
chances,
the 4-3
and he
game,
just
no, but
missed
the
two
last
random
game, no,
backhands.
the last game, no, the last game is
Okay,
was
fine. I'll give him
perfectly
credit
fine.
for the last game, but by then it's almost too late. Like you're
Yeah,
just
I mean, Jari literally showed he has this different mode. He basically stopped missing at 4-5 in the third. Pretty much even at
but where
4-5
was
love
that earlier?
40.
Where was that?
Yeah, I agree with that. But the last game, let's leave that. But yeah, 3-4. I mean, absolutely two just totally wasteful errors.
And
Not
also
even
the
on
game he
balls that
got
he was
broken in the
impressive
first
with.
set. It was just error after error, and then he just
I had a double fault, and
it was like three errors in a row, and
and the
it's
second set was the insane lucky returns from Diaz Acosta.
yeah, two passing shots.
Sometimes, I
I
mean,
mean,
yeah, fate is just too strong.
yeah, I think one off the forehand, one off the backhand, and then but yeah,
Yeah, one was the backhand, the sharp angle, and then the forehand was just totally wicked.
yeah.
The forehand was just like, I don't even know what happened here, but we're rolling. And I liked how after every shot like that, Diaz Acosta was just even, to the crowd. Come on.
I don't really know what his potential is. He could be sort of like a Guido Pea type, just like which is actually which should be a really good career. Like didn't Pea get to like top 20?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that for him, that would be an amazing career, I think.
But his forehand is pretty tough to beat on clay, especially the way he can like open it up with angles and um, yeah, it's just a very clay court game. Let's see if it translates to the other courts. I mean, it already kind of did against Fritz.
Yeah, it's fine. On hardcore, it's fine. It's not only threats. I mean, his previous appearances were okay as well.
Anything last year on hardcourt notable?
He won
Challenger
a
wise.
match at Winston-Salem. Who was that against now? Serundolo, maybe? So, no, am I right? Someone pretty weak, but he did win a match at Winston-Salem. But otherwise, I don't think he's really played. Like next
Cerundolo, the Miami
matches.
specialist.
No.
The other Cerundolo.
Serundolo, the Cordoba specialist, the lesser
Oh, okay,
Serundolo.
yeah. The lesser one, yeah.
Mm. Otherwise, I don't know if he really played hardcourts last year. Like probably U.S. Open qualies only, and that. 2022 US Open qualies, he had a nice match against Jari, but otherwise, yeah, last year he played 8 hardcourt matches, which is a little more than I expected. But yeah, at the beginning of the season, he made the quarters in Numea. I forgot about that. That was a nice run, actually. He pushed Garin in the quarters. And yeah, at the US Open, he played Isner in the first round. He actually made the US Open automatically already.
Austin Straits.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But I mean, he's not horrific on hard courts. He's gonna win matches. He's not
Yeah,
Mariano
yeah,
Navone on hard courts for now.
no, he's gonna win matches for sure.
He's not gonna win them very consistently, but he's gonna win some. You win
Yeah,
some,
I
you
think
lose some. That's tennis.
he's up to 59 in the world now, so that should be really good to get into most big tournaments.
Tennis matches don't really have any setup length. It can be anything, in this format, let's say from between an hour and 15 minutes to 3 hours. Really, there's no way of knowing. So
Yep.
that's all I can tell you, really. It's a funny sport like that.
Yeah, Paul's body language is pretty negative right now, as Matthew was pointing out, especially when he got broken in that game at 1-2.
Yeah. Could be some of that, like, fatigue and just trying to get his legs, body going and not really being able to
Yeah.
yet.
But the day off yesterday should have helped.
It should have, yes. But again, it's probably like a little less pleasant than a day off, because on a day off you do a lot of recovery, whereas there, up until a certain point, they were still waiting, right? Play
they were
this
just
match
waiting.
and like warming
That has
up and
to be fun for sure.
prepping, yeah. So it's not like a proper day off. It's
Yeah.
still, of course, better than actually having to play on the day, but
Oh yeah, I am still wearing the tennis one shirt. Yep. I actually was recording some stuff for them before this, so I was like, I'll just leave it on.
Does Leo Borg have top 200 potential? Maybe, but he's definitely improved, and I think it would be good for him to just let go of all that wildcard circus. Like, it's not actually allowing him to progress. It's probably actually hampering him. But yeah, the start of the season has been horrible. But yeah, I mean, he's won ITFs before. There's no reason why he wouldn't be able to get into like top 250 at some point.
Let's see. John says Bastian Fashan is doing social media for WTA. Oh, okay, that's good. That'll help the WTA for sure. They desperately need help in that department, so Bastian is good for that.
Yeah, this has been pretty tough, honestly, so far to watch, but that's fine. As I said, I wasn't expecting much, so I'm also not gonna be disappointed.
I don't know. I mean, this match could easily turn. Does Paul have a chance to win a set? Yeah, of course he does.
Yeah, needs to get out of that flat mode that he started the match with, though.
Yeah.
Fritz is kind of like, well, he did have that great return winner here at Love 15. However, after that, he's like really not pouncing on Tommy. This is probably the game where he could have maybe applied even more pressure, maybe already run away with the set, but just made a couple of pretty lousy errors.
Yeah.
So he's just kind of giving Tommy more time to get out of that sloppy start. We'll see if he can manage that, actually.
Tommy has some of those modes where this really flat gear where he's just
Yeah.
lackluster or not really doesn't really have that energy versus when he's on. It's a big difference.
Yeah, and the problem for a player like that, like when he has that flat mode, flat gear, whatever, like he just can't really do anything about it because there's nothing in his game that wins him points
Yeah,
like
he
without
just has to
intensity.
he just
Yeah,
has to wait it out.
without intensity, he's not gonna win points. He can't rely on something to just keep feeding him, and yeah, that's a problem, of course, for many players, not only Tommy Paul.
You see that with Francis, but Francis is in a different way. For him, it's about the engagement with the crowd as well.
Mm-hmm. No, Keen, Petri Pericard will not be the French number one by the end of 2025. I can bet my
Is he going
house
to
on that.
fulfill the role of the top 10 backhands? No, of a top 10 player.
Top 10 backhands? No, no. I mean, we're still kind of done there. Obviously, Tsitsipas can come back. Grigor can very quickly be in there as well, but
But in terms of
the
younger
one-handed
players coming
backhand
up,
is kind of done and dusted. I mean, he's the best, and that's not amazing because he's still like fighting off his one-hander, right? Like he's not succeeding because of it. He's succeeding
no.
despite his one-hander, and it's the same for Kodat, Privara, Aidan Mayo. I don't know who else is from that generation. I mean, I'm really lacking answers from like 2020, 2003, 2004 Bear years. Yeah, I mean that's kind of it. Kodat, Privara, Mayo, Becci Pericard. That's not a great list because all of them actually suffer because they have a one-hander.
Oh, and by the way, we do have an opening because Paul seems to have found his range a bit more on the forehand, going after it a bit better with these cross-court angles, and Fritz struggling to get his way back into these points. So he's going to need to hit some big serves because otherwise he looks in trouble here. And sort of what you said in that last game when there was a chance to even apply more pressure and he didn't, that might be coming back to bite him here.
Yeah. Now he is the one looking a little lethargic in of the baseline and just
Yeah.
not really knowing how to break through when the point is not set up for him.
Yes. In some ways, it's a little similar also to the Diminor matchup where Fritz, yeah, Diminor just walls up and Fritz kind of just needs to find another mode, which he does not have a lot of the times. It's just sort of one-dimensional baseline power. So we'll
Yeah,
see if he.
and that's actually partially why I'm not usually that excited about his matches, especially when he's playing someone like Paul, who's also like, well, I can't say he's one-dimensional, maybe, but
Oh
he
no, not at all.
definitely like, yeah, just likes getting into these exchanges with him, and then just kind of
We'll
becomes
see
a match
because
about
Fritz
that.
also just has that fighting ability where he just I've seen him just relish it and then like get better as the match goes on. Plus forehand drop shot thing now, so let's see if he can utilize that.
Oh yeah, and for Tommy it should be as well, right? Because he said that he wants to learn of Carlos, and yeah, so for both of them actually, the forehand drop shot should be a thing now.
Yeah, I mean I saw him use it a lot against Giron and against what did he play the first round? Borges. Yeah.
I have not been watching Delray Beach like almost whatsoever. So kind of after Arnaldi went out, who else was there? Who was okay? I don't remember.
Oh my goodness! And Paul on that forehand at 1540 just made an absolute mess of that. Like, what was that?
I don't think. I don't think. Yeah. That was absolutely horrible. Obviously, he totally set up the point for him. I actually was thinking whether he might use that drop shot there, but he didn't. He
That
just
would have been
instead
a
missed that
much
forehand.
better idea. I mean, I don't know if it would have worked, but that would have been more sensible than.
But yeah, about Pechi Pericard Keen, I understand what you mean, but I mean, there's still gonna be Ugo Umber and there's still gonna be Arthur Fils. And I don't really see Pechi Pericard ever being ranked higher than these guys.
Oh, but that time that volley was good enough. Hit it in the open space. Did not make a mess of that. Although Paul got there, but So he does save those 3 big points. Interesting rally here at deuce. Longer exchange. This time Paul goes for the drop shot, but he just misses it.
Yeah, but it was kind of forced. I mean, it wasn't exactly his invention. He kind of didn't have anything else to do in that situation. And well, he has really blown
Oh,
that break here. I mean, that potential break.
yes. Yeah. So big hold, but he was helped certainly by Paul quite a bit.
Yeah, the volley was pretty good. 30-40. I think the first point was easy, right? Like just a backhand +1 that he hit pretty
Yeah.
well. So he definitely was fine to save all these breakpoints, but 2 major opportunities missed by Paul when he was in control of the rally, and yeah, just didn't end up coming up with the finish. So the defending champion rolls on.
Yep.
I guess both guys are gonna be playing Acapulco, though. I suppose I haven't checked that, but
Yes.
I would assume so.
Not Dos Cabos, but Acapulco, yeah.
Yeah, both seeded currently, which I guess is actually that and that does mean that they will be seeded because this is this week's ranking that's going to count for it. So Tommy Paul seeded 8th, Taylor Fritz seeded 4th.
Well, regardless of who wins, their ranking is not going to change. So Paul will be 14, Fritz will be 10.
Yeah, there's that big gap between 14 and 13 and 14, right?
Yeah.
Where you then you have 3 Americans: Tommy Paul, Ben Shelton, and Francis Tiafoe.
Yeah.
Whereas
There's a
Taylor
big
gets
difference
back into the
between.
top 10, and he is the guy throwing out Stefanos, right?
Yes.
Although, to be fair, Steph did not try to defend his top 10 ranking. So,
Yeah, like if he had played in France, like Marseille, Rotterdam, yeah, I mean, we might not even be talking about this because last year he didn't really gain anything in February. So if he had
was
played
that
it
the
this,
one where he lost to Rusuvori? Or?
no, he beat Brusavori, lost to Sinner, and then didn't play anything
Oh,
until
yeah,
Monday.
he was down to Rusuvori, and just like usual, Emil blew it. But yeah,
Yeah.
okay. But yeah, Stefanos just going for the full-on Mexican double that we have from this year, basically.
Yep. He won the title last year. He beat Diminor in the final.
Yeah, but he's of course not going to be defending these points until August. So, well, this is a proper chance to gain some.
Yep.
Fonseca will beat Fees, says Keen. I'd love to see it. I mean, this is a matchup that should suit him because he's not going to have to think much. And for now, Joao Fonseca is good when he doesn't have to think much. So, why not? I mean, it's definitely one of the better opponents for him in the draw, I think. He should do better than against Molchan last year because that was a pretty horrific showing. Hmm. But I would assume that there should be some interviews with Brian Battistone on the internet. I mean, probably people have sort of asked him why he plays that way.
Draper versus Kokonakis. Yeah, Draper should be the favorite in that one.
Yeah. I mean, Tanasi indeed loves Mexico. He had a couple of good rounds in Los Cabos. He just has not been convincing this year at all. And even
Yeah.
last week, he beats Mochizuki in
Oh,
Holt. So like
that
really poor
performance against
caliber of the
Mickelson. That was
opposition.
rough. That was a rough performance.
Exactly, because after the qualifying, I know he beat Mochizuki in Holt, and you're like, okay, the opposition was poor, but still, I mean, he wins 2 matches pretty easily. That has to be progress. And then yeah, against Alex
He was not good
Mickelson,
against
and
Mickelson. I watched that
and I
match.
remember I remember you talking about this because you like said that Mickelson is like a little bit of a favorite, right, or something like that, or
Yeah.
you are like expecting a tight battle, which I understand completely. And yeah, that just wasn't it. And after that, I just kinda cannot see Tanasi beating Jack right now. Then again, of course, Jack hasn't played for a month, so let's see how he's gonna be physically and whether that was actually a concern or not. Also, the leftiness into the mediocre backhand of Kokinaki's,
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
also a good advantage. I mean, they played
Paul
last year, it
here.
was very close.
Paul here playing mediocre from the baseline right
Yeah.
now. And he's going to face set point because some of these errors on the forehand. He's just trying to lift up and he's just totally mistiming these.
Now I wish Ghosty was in the chat because, I mean, is this the guy that I was supposed to keep praising? Is this the guy that I was supposed to be like, talking about? Have you guys seen Society of the Snow on Netflix? I have no clue what that is.
I have not seen it. No. Once again, another forehand error. This time, though, yeah, kind of an understandable miss with the slice, just like hitting the back of the baseline, but still, like, that is a set that Tommy will want to erase quickly. It could have been very different, though, if he had broken back at 4-2.
Oh, it's about that flight crashing. I actually read about this recently because I was just sitting at an airport and I started thinking, what are the most sort of, most well-known plane crashes ever? And I just spent 2 hours at an airport reading Wikipedia pages of about airplane crashes. So I actually read about that one. That could be quite interesting. Yeah.
Okay.
There's a question for you in the chat as well from Keen.
What is your opinion on pickleball? Oh, not that discussion again. Uh, I mean, I know it's like a very like widely talked about subject these days. What are my thoughts on it? I mean, I don't really see it as something that is a huge threat to tennis in terms of watching or television coverage. In terms of playing it, I can definitely understand people's gripes about it taking over tennis courts and being a lot of tennis facilities being converted for pickleball. That is certainly something that can be of nuisance to a lot of people, especially if they have membership at these clubs and they're intended just for tennis, and then all of a sudden, like 5 or 6 of those courts get converted. Yeah, that could be kind of rough. But in terms of it actually being a spectacle that people watch on TV, yeah, I don't know. They tried turning pickleball on TV, and it's like I'd rather watch paint dry. Like it is so boring. So I don't think that has really a future when it comes to that. So, but in terms of actually like playing, like for instance, if I was playing, racket sport with somebody who had never played tennis before or something like that, I'd probably want to play pickleball with them just because they'd pick it up faster because it just requires a ton less skill and reps, and you can get really good at it within like a week or two. I'm not even kidding. Like you could just become a really good pickleball player in a week or two. You can't do that with tennis. It takes years, months of practice and training. So that's where like I guess that might be the appeal. Maybe for people who are slightly older need that exercise fitness. It's probably an easier way to get it than playing tennis
Yeah, I
because
think
that
I think I've told you that before, but or maybe someone else here on the chat. But one of my friends never, played pickleball or anything like that. He literally picked it up, started driving around tournaments, and he's one of the top players in Poland right now.
Yeah, not surprised. I mean, it's
Yeah,
pretty easy to pick up.
like imagine trying to do that in tennis or in table tennis or even squash, honestly.
Yeah,
Or
those are
well,
all
badminton
harder.
definitely goes with tennis and table tennis. Squash probably would be a little easier, but still. It's just
Yeah,
impossible. That's but it's good. Yeah, I mean that's kind of also something that I like, but probably not for myself. Although who knows? But that's also kind of something that I like about darts. Like there's literally stories of players, picking up just buying a dartboard, and 3 years later they are well competitive. They're not the best in the world, but they are
yeah,
competitive, right? So it's
yeah,
possible for someone at every age to just become one of the top players in the world in theory if they put in the hard work and if they have the talent. So maybe, yeah, maybe that's part of the appeal as well.
yeah, for sure. Yeah. Also, if you're just trying to get into tennis for the first time, I mean, it's an expensive sport.
Yes.
Like, the shoes, the racket, the equipment, the membership, the watching it. Like, it's not easy financially,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, a racket you can buy pretty cheap if you don't care too much about it being.
Yeah, but like if you're actually serious about like getting somewhat good, like it's.
Well, I mean, up until a certain point, you definitely don't shouldn't really care about equipment too much.
Yeah,
Shoes, I mean, you can pretty much play in anything.
I guess. And if you have public courts, I mean, sure, but like
Yeah, like the
it
only real
depends how
problem
it
is the
basically depends
courts.
how serious you are about like getting better and stuff.
I mean, you're not gonna be a pro if you're like picking up tennis when you're 20, right? I mean, and I don't think the shoes or the racket are gonna change that really for the most part, at least until a certain point. So I think the biggest problem is the court still. A lot of people joining as well in the chat, and Matthew not pleased about the pole performance. Sorry, what is wrong with these dudes? He says. Yeah, I mean, Francis played a couple of matches like this in Dallas and Delray. I guess with Tommy, it's just a touch more surprising, but then again, yeah, we have that aspect of fatigue. We'll see. Maybe he gets out of this. He did have that one pretty good game where obviously he could have broken, and then maybe the first set is just goes in a totally different way, right? But
Yeah, but I think that game at 2-5 was very poor. You have to make
yeah,
Taylor serve it out. Taylor didn't have to do anything special, and actually, Tommy might be playing so bad that Taylor has to be careful here in his first service game because yeah, sort of when your opponent is playing below par, it can lull you into that same sort of mode as well. So that's what Fritz is.
definitely can drag you down to the same level, and
Yeah,
which maybe kind of happened yesterday as well in Diaz Acosta Jari, the second set, where like
yeah,
suddenly it gets a lot more messy. But then you also have the mental aspect, the nerves. I think both these guys here will not be as nervous as Facundo was yesterday.
yeah.
Um, well, it's definitely not been a great performance from Tommy so far, but we have to remember that there was that one love 40 that he didn't take, and that really could have made the first set a completely different thing.
But man, the crowds in Buenos Aires, Argentina, and some of these South American tournaments, I mean, they're just so good. Like they just really relish the atmosphere, and like it makes the story a lot more enjoyable. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
I don't know if you've been watching the Indian swing, probably not, but the crowds
No.
are crazy there. Like literally, you get a challenger final between, let's say, Hong Napolitano, like last
Mm,
week in
yeah.
Bengaluru. No Indians, but the
Wow.
the people just cheer so loudly. I mean, Indians love tennis so much,
They
and
love
it
it.
would be amazing if, like, after Sumit Nagal, there's more juniors coming up who are going to also in singles be stars, because obviously it's such a massive market for tennis, such a big country. And I was just amazed with the crowds there in both in Bengaluru and Chennai, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be the same in Pune and New Delhi, because it
Yeah,
doesn't even matter if an Indian is playing. I mean, literally watching Honk Napolitano, it was like, I don't know, I went to the toilet, to the kitchen for 10 seconds, and I
yeah.
hear such loud cheers that I would literally just like run back to the room to see what happened, and then I rewind it by 10 seconds. And it turns out it was just like a random plus one forehand winner or something like that. Like they would literally go crazy. They really treat the tennis there like the challenges that they have, because especially right now when Pune is not around, they like really treat it as something special, and they don't care that this is a guy, in the case of Honk Napolitano, who's ranked like 200 220 in the world. Like they just really, treat it with the sort of respect that I love that they give it. And yeah, it would be fantastic if the market keeps growing. I don't know if Sumit Nagal can sort of do it by himself. Rohan Bopana is definitely a big thing as well. Maybe, just by the success in doubles, he can also keep growing the market. I don't know for how long he can keep growing the market, obviously.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, a
yeah,
couple more juniors that step up, I think they can really change the whole landscape
that
of the
would be
game.
amazing. I
Because
don't know if there's anyone else. Is there anyone really?
no, not on the men's side, not as far as I know. And I mean, on the
Yeah,
women's side, there are some in the top 200. There's Ankita Raita, but she's
she's
like 30.
30. Yeah,
It's not the
she's
same. But
30. Yeah.
yeah, it would help if the federation definitely tipped in and helped some of these players financially. But yeah, the Indian tennis system has been broken for a while. So I mean, that is something that Sumit is also that's going to be part of his legacy as well to try to make a difference there. I
Yes,
think.
absolutely. And he's already done that. It's
Yeah.
just that, by himself, especially if his results don't progress to, let's say, like a I don't know, top 50, like, proper full on main tour level, it's going to be hard to do it just by that. But it's still big progress. And I mean, even on social media, you can see, I mean, that the interest in tennis is definitely there in India.
Oh,
And
it's
it
huge. I mean,
doesn't have
and
to
I
be
think
Indian
it's the
players.
second or third. Yeah, it's definitely the second, third most popular sport,
Yeah.
uh, for sure.
Well,
But
cricket and
yeah,
then what?
cricket is by far number one, and then maybe soccer and tennis it varies, but like
Well,
yeah,
that would make sense, yeah, from what I've seen, yeah.
but yeah, the interest is absolutely there. It was there also in the 70s when you had Vijay Amritraj and
Yeah, but then you had
it's-
like a proper star. I mean, top
yeah,
20-ish. Play against the big guns. In a Bond movie, we talked about it before, I think.
yeah,
But
uh,
yeah, basically, it was a little different. But certainly, like even on social media, you can see that even when an Indian is not around, they are still really invested in these events.
yes. What was it? What else was I gonna say? Yeah, I mean, for a brief while there was hype about Somdev Devarman, who is actually a mentor now for Nigal, but he got to I think 65 in the world. He played all the big four, big three, you know, and also Murray in 2011 U.S. Open. So he had some chances to play on the big stage.
Yeah, I mean the Varman Bambri, Gunneswaran, all top 100 players recent years. Ramkumar Ramanathan pretty close, but all in all, no one really stuck around. Bambri's
Yeah,
body didn't really survive that sort of effort, and I guess it's the same pretty much for most of them, that they
yeah,
get there and they can't really sustain it.
yeah,
Nagal is probably one of the most durable Indian players we've had there, sort of
yeah,
at the top 100 level. Of course, he still had a pretty major hip injury, which kind of almost killed his career.
yeah,
But you could imagine him actually maybe staying at like that 80-ish ranking for a while. We'll see.
yeah.
It's going to be very important what he does the next 2 months.
Agreed. Yeah,
Otto, I'm assuming, Keen, you're talking about Virtanen. Yeah, I mean, the level of motivation that he brings, the level of intensity that he brings to every match is just so weird. Davis Cup, it's always 150%. Tour matches, it's usually 80% or less. And yeah, top 150, he would like to be there right now. Obviously, the March is coming and he's defending over half his points there. So he's in big, big, big trouble. And Nurlan is apparently spending the evening with us. Thank you, Nurlan.
yeah. Recorded. Yeah, we did record the Iga and Carlos pod yesterday, and it has been
Yeah.
released fairly quickly, like Damien always does. So thanks for that.
Yeah, I mean, that really doesn't take a long while. So basically just clip the beginning, put it through the program, and that's it. But yeah, the episode 23 has gone out yesterday. Indeed, of course, Świątek winning Doha, Carlos Alcaraz losing to Jari, and we're gonna have another one in a week when, or maybe earlier, maybe Iga Świątek loses to Sloane Stephens and Carlos Alcaraz loses to Thiago Monteiro, and then we will record on Wednesday or Thursday. But likely it's gonna be more towards the end of the week.
Yeah.
Maybe with our first double. Who knows? I think we will get that double this year though, because there's gonna be Indian Wells, there's gonna be Ron Garros.
Yeah, I mean, this week would be pretty important, especially for Alcaraz. Let's see. For
It
Swiatek,
would
not
be
as much.
important, yeah. It would be important for Carlos, but like still, like it wouldn't be the biggest title, right?
Sure.
Yeah, like Indian Wells or
Uh,
Ron Garros, if
but
it
I think
happens,
going
that
into
would be
Indian
huge.
Wells without not having won a title since Wimbledon, like that would be rough.
Yeah,
And also, like if you're number two in the world, like you play these tournaments to pick up a title. Like that's why you're going to the Golden Swing. Like anything less than a title is kind of or a final title or final is
one title has to be there in these two events. Like if you're Alcaraz playing a double, let's say two events at like a part of the season where Sinner, Djokovic, Medvedev they don't appear there, you kind of
yes,
need to pick up one of them. Yeah, that's obviously true for Świątek as well. She doesn't really play events like that though, but it would be true for
yeah.
Świątek. She can't play events like that even with the new WTA rules. And yeah, Keen is referring to Niki Kalianda Punacha. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but
No, not at all. Actually,
he's
what did he do again?
138th in doubles right now. So, but
Okay,
yeah, he beat Goncalo Oliveira today in Pune in singles.
interesting.
He's like 28 or something right now, but yeah, also one of these like underused Indian talents. Like I don't think he really could have gotten to like top 100 or something, but if he got like proper funding, training a few years back, definitely
Yeah,
could have been a solid singles player to me.
that's the big thing. These players need that funding and support. You know, otherwise you just
And
get
then
stuck
they just start playing
downhill.
doubles, right?
Yeah, then that's your best hope. Like,
Then you've got obviously some amazing doubles players from India: Bhupati, Bopanna,
yeah,
Sharan, Raja, Mineni, Ramanathan, lots of them, but Bambri. But yeah, still.
yeah. I mean, Indian tennis. I like most of the followers that I got originally on Twitter. They were all Indian. Like there was
Mm.
basically exclusively Indian people for like the first 200, 300 followers that I got. It was like almost 50% Indian. It was huge market. And then like tennis and bagels when we first started it, I think in 2022 February we were number two in India at one point. Like, and so I was like, I'm not surprised because like that's majority of our followers. And like we were never talking anything Indian tennis, nothing related to India, nothing ever. Like this, yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's what we said, that the Indians care about tennis, even if it doesn't include Indian people. But obviously, it would be much better if it did, as it's such a massive market. It's also a massive market in the United States, and that situation has definitely been improving. It's just a matter of whether one of these guys can sort of, yeah, become an Andy Roddick or better. Make 4 Wimbledon finals, win the US Open. 4 or 3? I don't know. I just said it off the top of my head. I guess
Three, I
4
think.
wouldn't track. It must be 3, yeah.
Yeah, three,
Yeah,
and then one US
2004,
Open
5,
in
and 9.
2006. I
Yeah,
think,
4,
yeah.
5, and 9, yeah.
But like, I mean, yeah, like Roddick was a player who, like 2004 Wimbledon, was playing some of his best tennis. 2009 Wimbledon as well.
Yeah, I mean, no Federer, and he wins like 2 of these at least.
2006 Wimbledon US Open was also a very good showing, for about two sets at least. He was right in there.
Yeah, yeah.
Of course, there was that famous backhand volley miss in the second set tiebreak.
Yeah, of course. 6-2.
Yeah.
Just kind of goes too wide on it. Not the easiest volley I've seen, but certainly given the circumstances and that it was one of the 4 set points blown and how important that was. Yeah, one
Mm.
of the most famous tennis misses ever. there's a list of players not to mention, so I'll not mention them.
But
Although
actually,
most of
even the
them
year that he
I
retired, I
agree.
mean, even the year
Hmm?
that he retired, he picked up a couple of titles, and he beat Federer in Miami.
Yeah, that's the one where Federer loses a break to him in the decider, and he like approaches to the Roddick forehand on every point,
I know.
and he just gets passed every single time.
He did this in 2009 against Del Potro as well in the U.S. Open. He just kept going to the forehand. He's
Yeah,
like, "My forehand is better than yours. I'm so sorry, but I'm just going to. You will not pass me for the fifth time. You passed me 4 times in a row. You're not going to pass me again." Well,
yeah. I think that Roddick game in Miami is like literally 4 passes.
well, he was so generous, Federer, that he just gave Haas like 2 wins at the end. They gave Roddick a win. And he gave
Stuttgart, yeah, yeah.
like all these guys that he owned for like 15 years. He's like, "I'll give you a win finally."
Leighton Hewitt, I guess, in Brisbane.
Yeah, Brisbane and then Hull. I think 2 of their last 3 he lost.
Yeah, but like Brisbane was much after, like
Right, the
what,
final,
two
right?
years after that, 3 years after that.
2014. Yeah.
Yeah, final. Yeah. I mean, all of these games, on especially on the Paul serve, they kind of look like Fritz could be in them easily, but he's just not doing that. Like I don't know, he was love 15 down here, and sorry, he was 15 love up here. He misses that second serve return, which like yeah, I mean, he had nothing on it, and he's just not really with that let's say
I
killer
guess the
instinct
wind is
here
also
so
making
far.
it somewhat tricky to like
It's
time these
possible.
balls, but it's like I think that
Hasn't
makes
really
it harder
shown
for
much
Tommy.
killer
I think
instinct.
that is probably an advantage Fritz when they play in the wind. Even though like Fritz is not the best mover, he still is not his technique and fundamentals are pretty sound that it's not really going to impact the quality of the ball strike as much. Whereas for Tommy, he just has to get his footwork like spot on, in order to generate his
That
record.
makes sense. That tracks to me. I think there was a question about Xiu Wang as well. Honestly, I'm not too competent on her.
Wong Xiu is the lefty, right? What do you think is a weakness in her game that? Yeah, I don't really know to be honest. I don't know if see like a top 20 player there, but
I think it's possible. I think it's possible for both Wangs.
Zinyu for sure. Like she has a big
Probably
game.
more for probably
Yeah,
more for
more for
Xinyu,
her.
but
I could see it, but I don't know if like she has a big enough game to like do anything
yeah,
bigger than that. Let's see.
probably can't really match the explosiveness of Xinyu. However, yeah, Xiu Wang, I've watched her a few times, obviously, but I don't know if I'm ready to talk
She had
about
that
that.
one really good U.S. Open. I think 2022. She made the fourth round. Made the
Yeah.
fourth round. Yeah, I seem to remember that. She did something big there. Who did she beat? She beat
Sakari,
Sakura.
maybe?
Yeah.
Sakari, yeah, that's what I.
Sakura struggles against those type of lefties players and really anyone with
Ah,
variety and honestly a lot of players. But yeah,
yeah, that's what I was trying to say. Yeah.
like tomorrow, like I think she's playing. Who is she playing next? And I'm like, oh, she could lose. Yeah, she's playing Navarro. I don't probably wouldn't even make her the favorite against Navarro, which is
Navarro has a very real chance. Yeah. Who did she lose to last week? I forgot now.
who Sakura?
Yeah,
Like where here?
last week.
Oh, last week. Last week
Um,
she lost to.
something
Let me
fairly
think.
easy.
Yeah,
That double fault is not great from Fritz, and he's
it wasn't Kirstea. That was the week before.
yeah, no, like Kristea crashed her in
Abu Dhabi. Yeah.
Abu Dhabi. Yeah. That I know, but it was also like another one of these fairly embarrassing losses. I think. Okay. I mean, no, it was only fairly embarrassing because she wasted match points, but it was against Noshkova.
Oh yeah, Noshkova. Yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't embarrassing, of course, when it comes to the caliber of the opponent, but just because of how it went and
Yeah.
how she
I,
had a
I
lot of
think
chances.
for Sakura, I'm kind of looking at Indian Wells. I think she can make a big run there. The conditions are much better for her.
Yeah, I mean, big run, yes, but then again, like you put her against
Semi-final,
Rybakina,
final. It's
Sabalenka,
possible.
or Świątek, yeah, it's. I mean, I don't think she can beat either of the main 3 players
No.
we have right now. Probably not Coco either.
Like I remember last year, she was playing so well at Indian Wells to like get to the semis, and then yeah, against came up against Sabalenka, and it was just nothing she could do. I
Oh,
guess
there's
she's
gonna
also out of the
be
top 10 after a lot of weeks there.
yeah. There's gonna be a chance for Tommy Paul now. It was a very nice forehand cross, just
Yeah,
really ramped up suddenly of a mid-court ball from Fritz, and he will get another break point, which of course he wasted 3 of them in the first set in a very crucial moment.
yeah. Let's see if he can take one of these.
Well, let's say one he wasted.
The forehand, yeah.
The second
That was
one,
the
the
ace.
shank, from a pretty tough position, like running around, but still.
Let's see if Fritz will go for it. No, Fritz just kind of applied a bit more spin on that backhand, and then Tommy just dumps it in the net. So again, like it's the footwork, it's the timing, like all these things in the wind. It's a lot easier for Fritz because there's not that much that can go wrong in his technique.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, Tommy, as we said earlier, he like kind of really needs to be
And you can see for a lot of these
focused and
blitzes, he's like really either reaching or the ball is not in front of him, and he's sort of he looks like the one with the more clumsy footwork. When in reality, that's probably not the case in more fine conditions. You know.
yeah, yeah. He's the one who like needs the precision, the focus, because that's really the
Yeah.
main area of his game, I guess.
And
And
then at the same time, you
if
can't play
that's
too
gone,
safe because if he
how
plays
do
too
you win?
safe, then then he's giving Fritz mid-court balls, and so it's a kind of a tough balance for him. What
Next
happened
point's
to
gonna
Paul
be
Judd?
pretty
Paul
great,
Judd
though.
was almost beating Kyrgios at Wimbledon in 2022, and after that, I kind of just stopped following him.
Uh, Keen, do I need to get back on the job train? When you listen to the newest episode, I obviously have to talk about him there, and I think I am fairly on the job train as a challenger player, but not as more really. He's kind of like a bit more offensive Jay Clark. I know you told me not to mention him, but I had to for the comparison. But yeah, that's another great point from Tommy actually, and the back and down the line, even the finish, which like hasn't been easy for him this entire match.
Yeah, a lot better.
There's a glimmer of hope. There's a glimmer of hope in this game for Tommy, but obviously the most important point, he did just dump a backhand into the middle of the net. But there is some hope in this game for him for sure.
Hmm. Paul doing a bit more with his backhand on the line, and actually this time it was Fritz who got caught in the wind and just his forehand cross court drifted wide. I like the idea of Tommy being more forceful with his backhand on the line, going after it.
Yeah, he's been doing that all game, and obviously this probably is one of the best games he's played so far, even if he still hasn't broken.
Yeah, could be knocking on the door right here. Let's see. Of course, I think the scorecard is pretty fast. Let's see if I can catch up my stream, or maybe not. Maybe I'm fine. Let's see. And this time Fritz misses a fairly easy backhand.
Yeah, kind of now or never. I mean, fifth break point, and he's definitely his chances.
Yeah, that's the kind of ball that
Ooh.
Fritz actually hasn't been missing much this match. That was gift. Let's see if Tommy can take this break chance. He has a second serve. What does he do here? He's gonna go way back. And Fritz comes up with that +1. That's the top 5 ball striker right there. In full gear.
And yeah, but at the same time, yeah, Tommy went behind the court. He still did nothing with the return and just gave Fritz, a very open
He did, but this
corridor
is the
down the
kind of
line.
forehand that, like, let's say 2 years ago, Fritz doesn't make that. Or maybe not 2 years ago, 3 years ago, let's say.
It's possible, but then again, I don't know if I want to be praising him so much for just the +1 finish. This is mostly on Tommy to me.
Fair.
He was out of the court because he decided to be out of the court, and he just never had any chance of even catching that.
Fair, but I just think 3 years ago, Fritz would not have he wouldn't have had that intention to finish the point right there.
That's very possible.
He might have just rolled it back, or he might have just not done enough to punish the weak return.
It was definitely quite ballsy to go for it. It wasn't like the most easy put away I've seen.
The highest percentage play, let's say.
It's not. It's not the easiest put away I've seen. No.
But that's probably what has taken him to be where he's at, in the fringes of the top 10, because he does go for those more. Fritz the goat. Yeah.
Yeah, Nurlan. I'm already gonna switch to a different comment. I'm sorry, Keen, but well, he is still a little underpowered to me. Just a little all-rounded, and that's it. But anyway, I'm gonna put Fritz the goat now on the screen. Everyone has a different goat. If Taylor Fritz is your goat,
yeah,
that's your choice.
Lindsay Vaughn had a goat and then had to delete her comment.
Oh yeah,
which was just ridiculous. But I guess that just shows you what happens on the internet when you use that term.
I use that term a lot. I think yesterday I called Max Hans Reberg the indoor goat in a tweet, and the Djokovic fans don't go after me, so
you're safe.
Yeah, I mean, people sometimes would maybe say how can you call this match a blockbuster? And I'm like, this match is a blockbuster for the level where it's played, right? It's fine, and I can call Max Hans Reberg the indoor goat, and it's perfectly fine. People kind of know that with me, they should expect these things.
They should expect to see two players they've probably never heard of.
Yeah. And it's definitely quite easy to be on Twitter like this because no one really ever disagrees with me on matches or something because no one watches these matches.
They're not watching the same matches.
Yeah, they're literally just getting the info. They can't really disagree because how would they do it if they didn't see it? So yeah, it's a good existence. I certainly get a lot less hate or whatever than most other accounts do. Although there have been some people, sometimes you'll find some guys who will for a month just comment after your every tweet and say that you're an idiot. It does happen from time to time. And obviously there's always going to be the bettors who will just tell you, oh, this was so fixed, or this was, how can you say that this guy played well? I mean, he should have won the match. He was higher ranked. He was something, and but well, that's something we can't do anything about, and I'm not really even responding to these comments. So
I don't think I even read most of my replies. I used to read every single one, but nowadays I just tweet and I just forget about it.
Ooh, that's rough. I do read everything, I think. Well, sometimes maybe if there was something that was extremely, viral, let's say,
if
then
I
maybe
start reading all of them, usually there's 3 or 4 that are just, total either betters or just other people who are just relentless at criticizing you. And so I'm just yeah, I don't need it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't reply to these. I still read them though.
Some of them I have muted, so that helps.
I have never muted or blocked an account.
Seriously? Never?
Yeah, I have too much FOMO.
Whoa. Whoa, that is very surprising.
I don't see a reason to. I mean, if someone is commenting something under my tweet, I don't have to reply to it. So yeah, I've never blocked anyone.
Interesting. Well, yeah,
did,
whatever
did
works
you
for
hear?
you.
Did you hear that? Do you have the sound on the stream or not?
I don't know what happened.
No, I just heard someone whispering, "Mic check 1 2 3, mic check 1 2 3." Again, this time it's not even whispering. This is actually much louder now. Well, Tommy had another fabulous backhand down the line here in this game, and he gets 2 game points of his own to try to take the rewards from that, but we'll see how it goes. This one I do have to put on the screen, Nurlan. I'm pretty sure you knew that I was going to.
I know that amongst most of the commenters on the stream, you're probably the most influential. Along
I
with
mean, Ghosty is the reason why we're doing this stream, and he's not even on it. So
yeah,
I would send him the link, but we literally know him only from YouTube comments. So I don't even know how to.
yeah.
It's gonna be 3-all, as Tommy Paul definitely has a bit more fight now in him, and the backhands down the line again. That's been a major sort of addition to his game in the second set. That's allowing him to keep it much closer here. Of course, there are a couple of breakpoints in the previous game that he can kind of rue.
Yeah, in general, we are seeing a level increase from him. So, in intensity, especially, and also just
Yeah.
more assertiveness early in rallies. So that's good. He kind of needs to, otherwise this match would have been over fairly quickly.
Still might be, though. I mean, one sloppy game and we're done.
Yeah. Someone has a question for you about being hungover.
To attend tennis that I was supposed to? No, but I wonder. Attend tennis that I was supposed to? No. I mean, usually I don't really drink too much at events, honestly. Well, sometimes at published events it would happen, but at the foreign ones, most often I travel to challengers, so like usually I don't know anyone really. So maybe there was this one year because in Szczecin there's that players party, right? And I definitely arrived at 1 p.m. because thankfully they started at 1 p.m. that day. And I arrived on the courts at 1 p.m. and like, yeah, everyone in this office could see that I had a rough night and they knew where I went as well. So that was pretty funny, but I was still there. So I probably have to say no. Shevchenko also started laughing when he saw me. Because we talked a bit at that players party, and definitely, well, he knew in which state I was going to arrive at the course. Let's say. But yeah, no. The answer is no.
Oh, and there, Tommy was being more forceful, and he finds the finish. It's time forehand down the line approach. So yeah, Fritz hits an ace, so that's his fifth of the match.
Yeah, definite momentum swing in the last 5-10 minutes or so. Let's see if Tommy can capitalize on that, because I mean he's been way better than Taylor the last 15 minutes or so. It's just
Yeah,
like,
but he just needs to get the break, otherwise it doesn't matter.
yep. And otherwise, he's still be in that position where literally one sleep and we're done.
Hmm. Both of us were in the top 500. What do you think our rankings would be? Oh, I'm just laughing because I can't imagine myself losing
I mean,
from
we
what?
wouldn't get to top 500. So
Yeah,
how can we really answer that? I mean, Vansh obviously is a better tennis player than me. So let's say he's going to be higher.
I don't
But
know actually if I am anymore, but
I mean, definitely, you had training. I haven't, but yeah, I mean, we wouldn't get to the top 500 in the first place. So basically, if there was only 500 professional tennis players, I have to say Vash would be 499 and I would be 500. That's really the only answer to this question I can come up with, I think.
depends though if we play on clay. I
Yeah,
have
I
never
mean,
played on clay, so
we would be very quickly exposed, let's say. I think the quality gap would still be enough, Vash. I mean, it doesn't matter to that extent. I mean, you wouldn't beat I don't know who is like a clay courter, Sebastian Baez on carpet, even if you played a lot on carpet,
yeah.
just because he never has. Like, no, you still wouldn't. But it would be pretty funny. Like he would be absolutely atrocious. Federico Del Bonis once played Ismaning, which was so funny as well.
The bonus, by the way, retired, right?
Yes, yes, that was his last match in doubles in Buenos Aires with Facundo Pagnis as his partner.
Hmm.
I mean, I can't really blame Tommy Paul for losing the 3 points in a row here because it was literally just Fritz putting in good serves, right? I mean, on the
Yeah.
next point, he kind of showed what happens when that doesn't happen, when that doesn't take place, and like when he actually has the ability to, let's say, outmaneuver Taylor in a rally right now. But if there's a big first serve, he never gets to do that.
Yeah. Game point. Let's see if Taylor can get out of this game. He's certainly been made to work hard the last two games on serve.
Yeah, 2-0, 2 breakpoints. Now no breakpoints yet, but a couple of deuces and this is the best that Tommy has looked all match, definitely.
Oh, that was a very good point from Paul.
Yep, the volley finish. I hope that Matthew is watching because earlier he was not pleased with Tommy's level. This is more like it.
Yeah, this is more like the Tommy Paul, who is a threat on hard court.
I thought you might say that we know and love, and then I would have to say,
I was really
mm.
about to say that, but then I stopped myself. Actually,
No, I mean Tommy is absolutely fine. I just, yeah, I don't know if I believe in him ever, getting a big title, for example. And that's kind of the next step if you're around this spot in the rankings.
yeah,
At least threatening for that big title.
I don't think he's been past a quarter of 1,000.
Probably not. Off the top of my head, I can't come up with it. Definitely a few quarters.
Ooh.
Well, a
Yeah, so
few,
this was
like 2 or 3.
a much better point from Paul again because Fritz was just so off balance while defending, and now he has another chance. Let's see. Sixth break point of the match, third this game, right?
Yep. No, second this game, right?
Second, yeah. What was the other one? Oh, the other one was a 2-all. Yeah. So this is the second.
Yeah, second this game.
He couldn't really do anything on the
No,
first. It was just
two of them were on the in the previous game.
So this is his first of the game.
Yeah,
Oh yeah. No, it hasn't got to breakpoint yet in this game.
two of them were in the previous game. It was
Although
that
this
backhand
was
in the middle of the net
a
and
bad
the
miss.
short return.
This one was a bad one because second serve return he could have made
Yeah,
it, but wait, how many breakpoints were in the set? Two, right? But they were both in the 2-all game. Okay, yeah.
yeah, 2-all game for sure. The backhand into the middle of the net, but not the return, just in the rally, and then the shorter return that Fritz just pummeled.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's doing a ton of running right now, Fritz, and of course that is very much Tommy Paul inflicted.
Yeah. Especially when he doesn't make the first serve, he knows he has to run a ton right now. Well, that time he didn't make the first serve, but he didn't really get anything out of it. Let's see if he can still win the rally. Oh. No. Again, he was like just running corner to corner and then missed. All right. Breakpoint number 7.
I believe so.
Oh wait, I'm still watching the pointed deuce.
It's pretty much more of the same again. I mean, Paul eventually just making Fritz stretch for the balls.
Changing directions down the line.
Yeah, and eventually forcing Taylor to miss. Really testing that footwork out of the corners and the movement that Fritz is like better than he was at, but
and now he's gonna come up with a big serve again because that's what he's usually been doing. Or let's see, big point number 7 makes the first serve. Tommy misses the return, but makeable return.
Makeable, but it's still a first serve return. It's not like the previous game, really.
Yeah, still forced error for sure.
Yeah. Just pretty.
By the way, I don't know how the ATV website does the winners on forced error count, but it's always just way off. Like it's just never right.
They do it for the 250s?
Any match.
Really?
Oh, I mean, no. Like, I mean, like anytime they do it, it's just it doesn't make any sense. Like,
yeah,
they did it for Rotterdam, Dimitrov, Divinor. Like, there's no way Dimitrov only made 4 unforced errors. It's not possible. Unless they just count everything as forced.
You can return it and count it, right? They can return to it and count it. I once did that for that famous Fernando Gonzalez 3 unforced errors match, and it turned out he hit like 5 or 6 depending on how you count it. So even these stats were not perfect.
Yeah, but like let's just say I trust the ATV Media Tennis TV stats much more.
Yeah. It's best not to trust anyone but your own eyes. However, I'm not gonna be counting.
Like, I remember there was this one match that I watched last year, and then I tweeted about the difference. And then Gil Gross was like, I actually counted it was 56 in the real and the it was 56 unforced errors, and then I think Tennis TV had it at 70, and then the ATP website had it at 30. So like I was like, okay,
yeah.
But it's just
which is wild because it shouldn't be like this. Like if even if there are some questionable balls, the difference should literally be like up to 5 maybe in the
that's why it's just like a philosophical difference because like clearly like they just don't consider most of the errors that a player makes is forced. Like it's just literally all. I mean, it's unforced. It's all literally just.
It's clear that it's not like what we consider reasonable, but that the methodology has to be a little different.
Yeah. Oh boy.
The game is still on. And if you weren't convinced that this is a big opportunity for Tommy Paul, yes, this is absolutely a big opportunity for Tommy Paul.
Maybe this is
Well,
one of those games that we'll see screenshots of on Twitter with the flash score.
no, I mean, this is so overused by now.
It's almost as used as this like player X won this match and then you just screenshot like the
Yeah,
score. Yeah.
I like when people sort of make a laugh out of it, you know. I don't know. Yeah, it's literally like 6-2-5-4 for the love,
Yeah.
and he won the match. Like that's funny. But
Yeah.
when I see it after every single match, I mean, I'm like, yeah, just but you know, people do it because it farms clicks. So well, I guess that's their right. Anyway, another advantage for Fritz as Tommy Paul missed a second serve return again. So definitely not too clinical here. This could be a bit of a Jari Diaz Acosta match as well, right? With the hundreds of breakpoint saves and 0 out of something eventually. I guess Świątek Aleksandrova last week as well. Straight sets, but a lot of breakpoints saved.
This is the same player who saved 15 breakpoints against Djokovic.
Yeah, the first two sets, true. Taylor Fritz, the GOAT.
Yeah.
I cannot believe. I mean, you cannot be 100k down. Really? That's, well. Well, if someone is on a 17 losing streak, then maybe you shouldn't bet on her anymore. Although at
Oh,
some
are you
point,
talking about Schweizing, the one who lost to Pliskova?
yeah, Shuai has to be because she was on 16 today before Karolina Pliskova. Well, at some point she's probably going to win a match. At least I hope so, because well, it would be quite brutal. She's probably gonna play like a random ITF soon. And although, well, she might just be playing doubles. But yeah, she kind of did what we were all saying she should, right? I mean, give up on the season last year and just get a break.
Yeah, there
We'll
was
see
that
how
controversy
that's
with
gonna
her
fit.
and top of the line call.
Yeah, in Budapest, yeah. And she was obviously looking lost for weeks already, like by then. So
Yeah.
it wasn't only that. And basically, she hasn't won since February. But let's see. Today, she actually had some chances against Pliskova in both sets. So
She did. She was 3-love up in the first set and then I think serve for the second. So
she's like 34 as well, which I kind of forget about. Like she's been there my whole tennis life, you know. How is she 34? And she did have a bit of a late breakthrough in singles for sure,
yeah.
with the Australian Open run.
Yeah, we're seeing more players like that from China have late career breakthroughs. Obviously, Dina was the most famous example, but you have players like Julien, who I think is 30 now,
Yeah, Julien is about 30. Yeah,
and also Yafan Wang, who is the same age.
sure. In a way, even Triple Z is a late breakthrough.
Yeah, but isn't he like? Yeah, and actually, yeah, he's I
He's
guess
like
so.
26, 7 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's not. He wasn't the youngest, basically. But that's another aspect. Like for a lot of Chinese players, they were massively slowed down by the pandemic. So
Yeah.
because they they had issues leaving, getting back to the country. You know, a lot of them were basically out for the whole duration of it. Let's say, like Yibing Wu, for example. Jian Zhang obviously played quite a lot, but then even he after qualifying for Wimbledon in 2020, what was 2021, I think he went back home for 6 months. So basically, a lot of the Chinese players that we see right now, they were kind of slowed down unless they had like a training base someplace else, which Zhang actually does because he's been with the Ljubicic Academy for years.
Makes sense.
But yeah, a lot of them were not really able to compete, especially those that we probably don't know or like barely know, because obviously these guys like Zhang, Wu, Shang, they've already been practicing at different countries for years. Zhang in Europe, but Shang and Wu in the States.
Oh yeah, I didn't see that match, but I saw the score. Musetti versus Junk.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened there. Only 2 games.
He was serving extremely well, and that kind of starts with it, right? I mean, he's just able to be even more, let's say, pressure the opponents even more. And Musetti is undeniably, well, I don't want to say trash on hard courts because he has good performances every once in a while, but like
He's better on
literally
indoor hard, right? Like last week, he almost beat Rich Sport.
slower indoor hard, yes.
Mm.
And
He does have one title outdoor hard, right? He won
yeah,
Naples.
Naples, yes. Slower
Mm.
hard courts in general. Like he has his moments, but
Mm.
over the course of the year, he also has a lot of streaks of losses on off
But I'm
clay.
not surprised that Jung won that fairly easily.
Yeah, like 6-6 love is of course a little harsh, but in general, that it was ZZZ who won it. I mean, he should be winning a match like this. He's a much better hardcourt player to me.
Mm. Musetti, does he ever get to the top 10?
Um,
He's been
it's
as
a
high as
little bit of a
15.
shame how much he's stagnated, and I kind of don't know if he's ever going to be able to like pull that game off, with enough efficiency and
He
just
just
know what to do on the court. Really,
cascade, but in an era where it's harder to
uh, hmm.
break through the.
His game is weirder,
Yeah.
but maybe like it's not impossible,
They
obviously.
say cascade because like the serve and the forehand are just, you know, they have to be a lot better to break through with it.
Average. Yeah, but like Gasquet at least always had that one hander to rely on. Like it was actually, everything. It was a weapon, it was a defensive resource, it was creating angles and everything. It was making the opponents uncomfortable. And for Musetti, his backhand is not like necessarily, something that's just gonna keep giving him points, something that's gonna be always stable. Like it's just not. It's not that. It's also like fragile. So it's
Mm.
yeah. And
Yeah,
especially in faster conditions, it's so fragile as well. Whereas Gasquet could play anywhere. Like literally, Gasquet could play on any court in the world, and he was so talented that it wouldn't matter.
true. Yeah.
Well, I
Yeah, I
guess
have
he's
seen
still so
Musetti's
talented.
backhand like just not be able to live with that pace and absorb it, and also
Oh,
just so
absolutely
many
not. I
routines
mean,
missed. And
that happens in every single fast court match.
yeah,
I'm not saying Doha is even particularly fast, by the way. I'm not necessarily referring to today.
yeah, he just sort of has to hope again that Monte Carlo, Barcelona, Marrakesh.
Yeah, needs to
Those,
go bigger. That's a great. This game is getting pretty crazy now as well. I mean, the wind is definitely hampering the players, heavily. And
yeah,
Taylor Fritz just had a break point.
it's a
You're probably
slow,
gonna see
windy
it
day
now.
followed by rain, so it's just going to be an absolute slog and a bit of a mess with some random
But
bounces.
that pass that Tommy Paul just got, like, it kind of also swayed in the wind. I wasn't
Mm.
even sure if it was gonna be in, but eventually it was. It actually landed like pretty far inside the court.
Wow.
But anyway, yeah, that's a big chance for Fritz. Obviously, he had a break point to serve for the match, and in fact, well, wow, you're gonna see that next shot again. I mean, I don't know if I honestly couldn't tell if this was in or out from the feed.
Second serve deuce. Oh wow, looks like it was in.
Yes, it was. So one more breakpoint to
And
potentially.
that is bold. That's bold, but he made it.
Yep.
Just crushed it.
He's gonna be in the rally as well on the breakpoint. It's still going on for me, so might be the point of the match. I think it's definitely up there as one of the top 5, 3. Realistically, though, I think it might be the point of the match.
Yeah, I'm watching it right now. Pretty long rally, definitely over 9 shots. Oh wow, well done. Well done. Everything was perfect. I mean, I didn't think that was a bad approach. Taylor didn't try to do too much with the backhand, at the same time got it low.
No, yeah, I think the backhand pass was key,
Backhand
right?
volley.
Like that was
Yeah,
it was so tough to play a better volley than what Tommy did off it. Like I
sure.
thought that it might also end the point right there.
I thought so too, but then yeah, that was well calculated because he didn't go for too much on the backhand and then just set up the pass. But yeah, so he serves for 7th ATP title. 7th, yeah, 7th.
No
Second,
bloody clue.
because he's won 6 before, and I guess last year he won 2. Year before that he won 3. Yes, he won 3 because Indian Wells, and then he also won Eastbourne, and then he also won Tokyo. So when was his other title? 2019.
Was it like Memphis or something like that?
No,
Or
Memphis
was that was
the
the final against Nishikori? Yeah.
2019 he won Eastbourne.
First one was Eastbourne. Yeah. First title was 2019 Eastbourne. Yeah, I'm pretty sure about that. Over Quarry maybe, yeah. Or Johnson. Oh, Quarry maybe. Yeah.
Quarry in the final.
Quarry, yeah. And then Sam Quarry was also pretty dangerous at
Then of course he had
Wimbledon.
that run in Atlanta and Los Cabos when De Minaur was just goading in Atlanta all week. And then he loses to Schwartzman in the final of Los Cabos. But then, yeah, 2022 he picks up 2. Last year he picks up 2. So yeah, this is his 7th, and that would equal him with Berrettini, Hurkacz, and De Minaur at 7 amongst players in his generation. Let's just say.
Well, while there's definitely been some sort of similarities to Diaz Acosta Jari, there's no similarities in the last game here, right?
No, this is just rock solid right now from Fritz. Just pristine ball striking. 3 match. Oh, and there it is. 6-2, 6-3. Well, we did get a much better match in the second set, even if the score doesn't really reflect how tight it was. We got those, 2 long deuce games, and Tommy certainly had his chances. A couple of second serve returns that we didn't get back into play, and then maybe he would have had the edge when they got into a rally, because he did get into that zone for about 10-15 minutes where he was the one outmaneuvering Fritz, but Fritz just held firm and he stayed so strong and he saved those break points, and then the point that he played to get the break at 5-3, and then the way he just served it out, no nerves whatsoever. Yeah,
Yeah, that's gonna be something to remember from this match for sure. Like the breakpoint for 5-3, and obviously that was kind of the key aspect of the match as a whole. Like Paul's inability to take breakpoints, whereas Fritz took whatever he had really, and
Yeah,
yeah, the love 40 in the first set. It was still 6-2, so maybe it wasn't as egregious, but it could have been like 4-3 at that point. And obviously the second set, yeah, all the missed second serve returns, you kind of can't do it, even in windy conditions, right? We can see
yeah,
your comments, Austin. Yes, we can see your comments. You asked whether there's any chance that Paul comes back to win match, and I guess we missed that. But otherwise, yes, we can see your comments. Thank you for the good talk. And yeah, thank you guys, of course, for being here with us. Top 5 boss striker against top 5 mover. Did it deliver? I mean, I'm not regretting joining you on this one. Let's say that.
okay, there we go.
Second set was pretty fun, so I'm fine.
See, I
I
told you
haven't been, I
it
haven't been
won't be.
fully converted, I haven't been converted into the American school of tennis, but
Yeah,
it was okay. I wasn't
I
hurting
wouldn't.
here. And
I mean, we've done quite a few Shelton matches. We've done Fritz in the past. We've done.
Shelton is a different beast. Shelton is definitely more exciting,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course.
but yeah, Corda Shelton, I'm definitely more sold just because I feel like they haven't reached their, well, at least most of their peak potential yet.
Yeah,
But anyway, yeah. Anything else left to say here? Tommy Paul, one win, one final. Still like awesome couple of weeks for him, right?
yeah. Still really positive, and it was important for him to get that second title, and he did that last week, and a very well played final against Giron. So I don't think he can be too disappointed. I guess in this match maybe he'll have some regrets in the second set, but yeah, still a couple of really good weeks for him. And actually, it'll help him a lot because he's defending those points in Acapulco, right? So he basically kind of already made up for that this week and last week. And for Fritz, it's a good start to the year overall. Kind of holding firm with his top 10 position. We'll see if he can like really go even further in Indian Wells. Those courts suit him really well. I think Indian Wells, Miami, Monte Carlo all suit him really well. So he honestly should be making it to at least the quarters in those tournaments if he draw permitting and stuff. And yeah, he defended a title also for the first time, so that's something that he did this week. And he didn't drop a set all week. He could have easily lost the set to Giron in the semis, and then he could have lost to Borges. Those were certainly too tricky for first sets. That
Did he drop one last year in Delray?
yeah, he did. He lost one in the final to Kecmanovic.
Yeah, right. I forgot because it was a bagel in the first set, and then it was like 5-7, 6-2
He
or
hates
something
winning
like
the
that. Yeah.
first set 6-love.
Yeah,
As he'll tell
6
you.
love, 5-7, 6-2 or something like that. Yeah, I forgot about it because I was like, yeah, that was an easy final, right? Which it kind of was, but he did drop a set though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was Paul just flat today, Ashley? A little bit in the first set, as we mentioned a few times on the stream. He was like probably not handling the wind as good as Fritz, which kind of comes from his game. Like it's not fully his fault. And then, yeah, just the inability to take the break points in both the first set and the second set kind of killed his chances. But overall, I wouldn't call him flat in the entirety of the match. No,
Yeah, he definitely picked up his intensity in the second set, and you know we started to
he was
see.
outplaying Fritz for like 10 minutes or so, right?
Yeah, he was.
But
So
again, just the break points that he couldn't take, the missed second serve returns, the rally shots that he wouldn't miss otherwise. It kind of killed him. So it's a bit like Diaz Acosta Jari. It's not fully the same story, but it's somewhat similar in terms of how the match went on. But yeah, anyway, I guess we have nothing left to add, right? And when it comes to future content on Talking Tennis today, there's still the ATP Weekly coming, which is going to be me and Mario, I think. I believe it's going to be in an hour and a half. So basically, you guys can also tune into that.
yeah,
And yeah, we're going to be there for you to talk about the Delray Beach, Buenos Aires, and Rotterdam events. And of course, later on in the week, I think John is going to be in Rio de Janeiro after all. And there's going to be a lot more content as usual coming on Talking Tennis. Almost 5K 850 now. the last few days we've gained a lot of subscribers. I'm not really sure if it was, what it was, the watch-alongs or something. Yesterday, Diaz Acosta Jari actually had like 60 viewers a lot of the time. Maybe it was that. But anyway, thank you guys, and thank you, Vansh. And I guess that's our cue, right?
Yep. Thanks a lot, everyone, for the comments and also for all the good questions during the match. And yeah, we'll be back with more content.